What's good, YouTube? House of Champs here, and we have Michael, Daniel, Klasel, MDK, arguably the most handsome judge to exist. I'll let you decide in the comments. So, what got you into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! First off?
My friend Alfred, back in middle school, I wanted a hobby, and all my other friends were playing the game, so I decided to play the game as well. And they don't play anymore, but I still play, so.
So, you're one of the more accomplished players to judge in the game. You have 5 YCS tops. Why judge? What makes you want to judge?
The biggest thing with judging is you get to learn little things like rulings, and you get to learn more as a judge than you do as a player. That when you actually play, you get the benefit of knowing certain things you would get from learning from judging, and it's really close. It's really nice because you get to, while you're playing, you get to have your friends playing, and when you're judging, your friends are judging, and then it just basically just everything was so much more fun. Yeah, how I should word that.
So, out of most of the regionals that you've been to, would you say that you're more on the judge side of Epic Cards and Games regionals? How do you view this regional versus others?
I view this regional over others as very player friendly. We are very lenient as a good ways on a lot of things. We listen to the players and what they want. I think we're the only regional in the area that actually does lunch breaks, and then we allow the players to use certain electronic devices for certain things that you couldn't normally use elsewhere. And I don't know, it's so much nicer at Epic region than somewhere else.
Yeah, 318 players today. So you have 5 YCS tops, but you've whenever I see you play in regionals, you play really wacky decks.
Yeah.
How many regional tops do you have? Do you know?
I do not know. I just know I have three wins, and 2 of them are in Tulsa VA.
So, what makes you want to play kind of those more out there decks? Like you've topped with Koki Meru, Deering Necroz, you topped with Triple Vanity, Triple Majesty. You've done some pretty cool things.
Well, I think the biggest thing with regionals is a lot of people take regionals very seriously. They only come and they have to play test, and they have to know certain things. And for me, it's I want to have fun, and a lot of times you don't know if anything's actually good unless you actually get to play it, and you can never you can't ever take a 6 tribute BA deck to local and then say oh, this is testing, because you're gonna play test against you're not gonna play the top decks. But if you go to a regional and you're doing well, you have to play the top decks to continue to do well. And then you sit there, you're like, oh, wow, I got I think 3rd place with this Triple Advanced Fiend, Triple Magic Fiend, and you actually know that something is there. And going into Washington Dallas, you're like, okay, I know that the Fiends are really good, but you also can see the pros and cons of competitive play with a fun deck. And even with Koki Meru, that deck it evolved for the Nationals that year. I think I don't remember who took it to the Nationals that year, but I mean, you play something, people like it, and then start seeing play more.
So, for the future of the game, they're Epic streaming their first regional.
Oh yes, player friendly.
Yeah, how do you think that that's kind of the new future towards how Yu-Gi-Oh is supposed to move is stream, live feeds?
I think the best part about live streaming for us is that there's a lot of players who can't make it, and we're very centralized between Oklahoma, South Kansas. There's some Louisiana players here, but there's players who just can't make it today. Either they have personal things that they can't do, and what's best to see some friends that on stream and just having a good time.
All right, we're only in round 3.
Yeah.
Going into round 4. What is the weirdest ruling you've gotten today?
Actually, I don't really do too much with rulings. I do, but I've had to deal with way too much. I think the only biggest one was, can my opponent activate Bomber's Trap Hole to summon a Dark Destroyer if I don't activate the effect of Dark Destroyer? Which, if you ever decide you want to judge, you'll get some few oplex questions, but the vast majority of the time you'll just get simple ones where it's just yes, you can activate, or they my opponent activated card A, can I respond to card B, yes or no? That's the entire ruling. And going back to the question you said earlier, why do I prefer judging, I like judging, is sometimes there's also those complex rulings where you have to know chain links where, because of judging and because I have friends in the judging side of it, going back to kind of like just like I don't want to say gloat, but going back to YCS San Mateo when I played books was I knew rulings of justice and valor, where I was able to resolve my justice under valor because I knew end of turn passing priority back and forth, and I knew the rulings of like DD Crow and transmigration, how they worked against Mermails. So it's not something you can learn day to day playing a regional because you're just gonna play. But if you're on a judge side, it does come up and you go, oh, that's actually a legal play, or that's how this interaction works.
If you had any advice to someone who wanted to get into judging, like they've been a player for a while, they're decent with their rulings, and they've started studying up pretty hard, what would you tell them to do?
For one, take the test online. Konami has a test on their website. Understand where you know your stuff and you're lacking. If you're in the DFW area, you can message me or David. We'll love to have you on the judge staff. I can't say everybody. If you're in the DFW area, you have to take David's personal test, which this test is more complex. But with the complexity, you learn more things as well. But if you want to judge, I know a few people that they want to judge, but they don't know all the rulings. Well, the thing is, like, you can just. I think there's a couple people here. This is like the second or third time judging like ever, and you eventually have to jump in the deep end and actually say I want to judge, and then apply to be a judge. So.
And any advice for like how to handle like duelists? Duelists aren't always the most calm crowd. Like anything to say to like somebody who is gonna find those interactions for the first time from the judge side.
From personal experience, especially a couple regionals ago, the best thing when it comes to being a judge is to stay calm and try to resolve it as much as possible. Let's see. I've had an issue where like one player he literally just gave himself like two turns, and just understanding like the entire game, like it was back in like Dragon Ruler versus Evilstar format, but like knowing the game, you're like, okay, this is exactly how this works, and yes, they're gonna argue with you. I mean, you just have to take it that sometimes people are just not gonna agree with your ruling. I mean, I've been wrong. I was actually wrong on one ruling today, just because my knowledge of the game and not playing. But that's where the aspect of like an equal balance of like playing and judging allows me to like know both very well. But when I haven't played very much, except when I just like travel with friends, like it's like where my rulings are going down. So I'm trying to play more so I can like get my rulings up better.
And finally, any advice to duelists that are calling judge on how to treat a judge?
We're here as just as long as you are. You're not the only in a non-rude way. You're not the only player. I've had one player, I've had a couple, but they got upset because I didn't just go to them right away. That's David. Which is, please be patient. We have, like today, I have 318 players that myself and one other assistant head judge, or a head judge has to work over. We were, like, for instance, Oklahoma City a couple weeks ago, I had a four-man judge staff, and it got kind of like hectic towards the end because you have so many players, so many judge calls. Is that we will come to you. We were very, very lenient on time extensions. Just raise your hand, please call a judge, and just note that you're gonna have an issue in your game state. We'll resolve it the best as we can. And if you don't like it, you're gonna appeal. There's some people who just get so worked up over like a judge call. We make mistakes too, and I made my mistake today. I went to the player. I said, "Hey, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. You were correct," and so patience.
All right, this is Zodiac Duelist, Konami Judge Mike Klasel.
Head judge.
Any shout outs as we head this out?
David for running a beautiful regional with a live stream.
All right, thanks, man.